Hi, it's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm, and I'm finally getting to that cozy corner slip cover, and this is probably going to be over a few days. But so there's the couch that I'm going to be covering, and I have a pile of materials that I plan to use. So this quilt was a damaged vintage quilt that I bought. It's going to be in the center. So I'm sort of going to do this. I'm not using a pattern because I'm sort of fitting this to the couch. So the first thing I want to do is get this situated so I can sort of look and see what piece needs to be where. So this. And I have an idea of where I want things. Now I thought about doing a strip out of this, and I think I still might do the strip instead of using this. I might use them for the piece that I'm thinking of, and then I have the ruffle. Because I also want to save some of this fabric to do the privacy screen with. Red, and it has more, most of the things have red and whites in them. This is red and yellow. It matches, but it's not going along with everything else. So I'm going to use this for the back piece of the fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this backwards, and I'm going to work backwards with my pieces, and I'm going to cut and pin them together backwards. So then I'm going to sew them, and then we'll turn it right side out and put it on the. If you're in doubt and you have limited materials, you're going to want to err and caution on the side of things being too big than being too small. If it's too big, you can always go in and put another seam and take it up. Remember, this quilt was damaged. It's like been cut off. Like part of it was cut off to make pillows out of or something. I'm going to save my bits, and that's what I'm going to be using that bit for, because this side doesn't come all the way over like I need it to. So I'm going to have to sew. It's easier. I'm going to do this back piece next. Probably the easiest piece. Remember, we're working backwards. Okay, now on this, I just want it to stop at the back side. Now we have the back piece ruffle. So some of this is going to get amended, obviously, but right now we're just doing it in big pieces. We have the front piece, the back piece. I need to think about on the sides. So I know I want to have that white chenille. So the way the couch is made has these like padded arms, and then there's this front piece and then a short side piece. So I know I want the white chenille to go over the arm. I'm thinking I'm going to do the entire sides white chenille. I'm trying to think so I know the ruff. I'm going to do a piece right across here, a straight like rectangle, and I know the ruffle is going to go here. So what I need to decide is if I want the white chenille to come down the front, come down the side, or do both. I'm going to do just the chenille on here and down the front, and then I think I'm going to do some kind of calico on the side. I also have this bit of, it's like a, I don't know exactly, it's like a rough, rustic woven piece of fabric, and I do have enough to do both sides. Just because the sides aren't going to get a lot of attention, and so I don't really want to waste good printed fabric on the sides if I can help it. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just cut it exactly in half. I actually prefer to recover a couch more than I do sewing a slipcover for it. And I know that sounds crazy because it's a lot of work to recover a couch. But when you recover the couch, you get it exactly the exact fit, and it's tight and it fits perfectly. When you do a slipcover, pulling and tugging and sitting on it, so you need to, you can't have it be perfectly a perfect fit, or else when someone sits on it, the fabric will be pulled, and eventually you're going to burst seams because it's going to be pulled on the seams. Alright, so I need to sort of look where we're at here, and so I want to do, if I want this part here to be chenille, I know I want it to be about here. That's going to be a seam, and this is going to be a seam. So I'm going to put a couple pins in where I'm going to need to cut it. Okay, I think I'm going to start over here in the corner because I got the back piece. Side pieces, front piece, back piece. That leaves, let's go to, we need a front piece up here. First of all, let's do the arm pieces, and then we'll look at how much fabric we have here in the front, and if we need to add an additional, just sort of muslin or something under there to hold, to tack the ruffle to. I think we're going to have enough fabric. I bought a cutter. If you really are interested in working with chenille, look on eBay and look for cutter pieces. That means that piece is now it's starting to look more like an inside out, fixing to be sewn. Same color. Be real careful when you're cutting to make sure you don't have any folds. You can cut a hole in your fabric. I've done that before. Probably any sewing mistake that you could possibly make. I have done it. I've sewn things to my own clothes, like really well, and then had to go unsew things, and I've sewed other things to other things. I've cut holes in things. I've done almost anything that you can think of. I probably have done it over the years. Alright, so here's the extra slack that will be tucked in there. So I'm just going to sort of do a round seam right there. Alright. Put a few more pins in here. I hate being so pin heavy, but this is what's sort of holding everything together until it's sold. Okay, so that brings us down to open piece right here. And that's, remember, this is before we get the rectangle put on it. And what I think I'm going to do is going to sew this first. Rectangle, since it's already patchworked and sewn together in a strip, I'm going to come and probably do it inside out on top, the right side out, if that makes sense. Slipcover, and then I'll fold it down. So I'll be like, I'll put it up and sew it like if we were doing a panel or something, and then it will fold down, and then that other part will be beneath the ruffle. So that's the first part, and let's start sewing. Okay, so I got most of this sewn. I need to go do the, I think I'm going to do this part here by hand. It's still pinned underneath. And this little part right here, I'm going to do that by hand. I still have that pinned. But the rest of it I've sewn. And I put it on and I tucked it in to look at and see how it looks. And so that rectangle is either going to be the red and white or the patchwork. Probably pin it on there and then look at it. And then the ruffle is this calico right here. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to go sew by hand those little bits inside that were those weird darts. It was just, I was going to do it on the machine, and it was just sort of, with all the fabric, it was a little complicated seeing which direction it went. So I'm going to take it off and do that part by hand, and then I'm going to start pinning on the rectangle. Ended up with using the patchwork strip. And actually, when I was sewing it on, I hit a bit, I accidentally double folded it, which worked out anyway, because I was going to have to hem the ruffle, and so when that got double sort of sewn, it ended up taking up the extra, so I didn't have to. So it actually worked out good. So I left the ruffle sort of long. I don't know if it ends up getting in the way or something. I guess I could go hem it up, but I sort of like it long. That was the original intent. So it was similar to how it turned out. And we have all the throw pillows that we did, the gusseted ones with the hearts and the popcorn chenille, and then we had the doily pillow that had the crocheted backing, and then we had the button box throw pillow, and then of course I did the two gusseted ones. So the button box one, obviously it has just a plain, that sort of cotton on the back with the pattern. So you obviously wouldn't want to lay back on the button box one because it has all those buttons, but it looks neat. And I did the chenille on the arms and the calico ruffle, the patchwork strip, and of course the back was that plain calico. I did all of the hearts. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's very comfy. And the next thing I'm going to be doing for the comfy corner is the privacy screen that will have, again, the red calicos, and we'll be doing the hearts. And I'm going to be, I've reproduced vintage valentines, I think is mostly what it was, onto fabric. And I will be sewing those onto red felt hearts. And so we're going to have the calico on the privacy screen, and then like the old vintage valentines is what it's going to look like. All the hearts is the theme, the heart theme, on the back privacy screen, which will be behind there. And then eventually we get to the TV part, and then the cozy corner will be finished there. So catch us later at Canterbury Trails Farm.